Let's talk transfer portal now. Let's talk. Well, what are we doing? We're just gonna be talking about 10 to 11 players and what are they? What is the team's missing that they're leaving, and where could they potentially end up? What do they add? First one, let's talk about Cam Ward, a guy this show has been insanely high on since like legitimately since like he came from Incarnate Word and he was
Yep.
going there I was pumped. I was pumped. I thought he could always be that dude. And, last year it was a struggle with the deep ball for sure. But this year I think he took a giant step forward. He elevated that roster for sure. Yeah, did they kind of take a tank at the end of the season there? Yeah, but like Cam Ward is probably my number one quarterback in the portal if I was grading out quarterbacks in the portal. And
Real quick
where does
about that,
he
I do think he quite isn't because you see guys like Aiden Childs and Dante Moore ahead of him. To be honest, the only reason is because those guys have 3 years of eligibility left, whereas Cam Ward has 1 year. I think that's where that rating happens. But if you want to talk about just best player available, most impactful for 2024, absolutely. I think
Yep.
Cam Ward is that guy, him and Walter Nolan.
Yep, I agree 100%. So, yeah, Washington State's going to be missing him a lot. I don't know what they're going to do without him. We'll see. Maybe they can get another giant D3, D2 snipe that they can. I mean, unbelievable find by the staff to get Cam Ward. So,
Well, and that was a big win. He was not an under the radar transfer. Like he
no,
lit
he
it up at
wasn't.
Incarnate Word, and he went with Jake Dicker, not went with Jake Dicker, but like Jake Dicker got him in year one there. That was incredible. That was a big time win for them.
Yeah. So except was that Eric Morris, right? That Eric Morris was head coach at Incarnate Word, right? Then he went to Washington State as their offense coordinator, and now Eric Morris is gone. He's at North Texas, I believe. I think that's how that
Yeah.
went.
Yep.
People can correct me on that in the comments for sure. But then, so what are some possible locations? Things that I wrote down: Ohio State. And when I say like Ohio State, I mean like, yeah, he is good enough to play at Ohio State as their starting quarterback, and for it to be an upgrade.
With that, I mean, with his talent there, I'm not. I hate to throw around the comparison, but like Justin Fields, like I see a lot of his game, and I see a lot of a little bit smaller version of Cam
In the
Newton
in the the
and the
pass
Cam
game, you
Ward.
mean?
Yes, and but also like in the pocket and breaking down plays, extending plays, like when he was at his time with Ohio State.
Yeah,
He's just so dynamic, and I think Ryan Day with him would be just so beautiful.
yeah. USC, I wrote down as another possible spot. So what Lincoln Riley could do with a talent like this, I mean, we know he elevates talent significantly. Now he's had Caleb Williams there, right? And that dude just is talented. But I think he's elevated every quarterback that's been there. So uh, I like that spot for him. I like Oregon potentially for him as well. Bo Nix getting out of there. I think Will Stein could do uh, a lot for him. I think I wrote down Texas just because I'm pretty sure he's from Texas. I don't necessarily see that happening, but I don't know. I have no idea. Uh, I thought Baylor as well. Now I think he will get a larger NIL bag somewhere else and get better coaching. But Jake Spavital, they're in the state of Texas. I thought that could be like a good fit, I guess. But I don't think he's legitimately probably going to go to Baylor. And I thought Washington, just across the apple there. So I don't know. Any other spots that you'd potentially see Cam Ward at, or do you agree with those
I,
or disagree with
I
those?
nailed. I agree with all those 100%. I do think Texas is a little bit far stretched. I think
Yep.
Texas would love to have him on staff, but when you got
No,
a quarterback room as talented as that, I don't think they're looking for, they can do that and allocate the NIL towards Cam Ward. Florida State is a name that has come up with. I think it's died down a little bit. In Miami as well, two Florida schools in the ACC. You're gonna get good coaching there. I think at both spots. I like Miami's OC as well as Mike Norvell has obviously developed
Shannon Dawson.
quarterbacks. Yep. So those are interesting, but yeah, I think you see. I think Ohio State and then those two West Coast teams with Oregon and USC to me seem. I'll throw in Washington there as well. The other side of the Apple Cup. I know they would love to replace a guy like Michael Penix with him as they're moving to the Big Ten. But yeah, those 3 and 4, if you count Washington, are names that would be really exciting fits for those programs, for those fan bases, for sure, with a guy like Cam Ward. And it sounds like, as of right now, it's a year where 2 years ago when the transfer portal palooza happened, right? You saw a ton of high level quarterbacks go from place to place to place, right? You saw a ton of that. Last year, you saw some, higher level names for sure. Brennan Armstrong, Devin Leary, among others like that. Not a ton of them really worked out, but I think Cam Ward, you started to see the quarterback market kind of simmer down in the transfer portal. Cam Ward to me is a tier ahead of everybody else for the year of 2024. And that's why I believe he has those elite options and he can take his time. He can drive the price up of his NIL and find a spot for him, because I do think the NFL is a real destination for him, right? If not this year, the next year as well. Go to a school that can develop you and showcase your talents week in and week out. And obviously USC, Oregon, Ohio State, Washington, all 4 of those schools are perfect for any of those.
I agree. This is a stud. Cam Ward is a stud.
How many wins does Washington State have without Cam Ward this year? 3, 2?
They don't beat Oregon State for sure.
No.
They probably beat Colorado. They don't beat Wisconsin. That's for sure.
No.
So, yeah, 3, maybe.
Yeah, I even think Colorado's a different game there as well. I mean, yeah, it's he was really valuable. Don't let the middle of the season, when he had some wide receivers go down, his line, his defense kind of, sold on him. He's a really, really good player, and I think it's being pretty evidently seen, and like that's the proof of that is who the teams that want him and the quarterback coaches and the pedigree that they have. Let's see a guy like Cam Ward and believe in him and want him to be the future of their program for next year.